It's the Breakfast Flight Show comedy special with SharkyDJ, HBQ and Rudi Lickwood. With special guest Eunice Olumide, Scotland's first black supermodel. She's also an actress, broadcaster and so much more. Tune into the Breakfast Flight Show to find out about our guests on the comedy Breakfast Flight Show special with SharkyDJ, Rudi Lickwood and HBQ on Tuesday from 7 till 10 a.m. on GY Radio.
How are you this morning?
Let me take myself off mute because I normally have myself on mute. I'm good, thank you. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everyone on Mixcloud. Spice, nice. Morning, my lovely Venard G, Pablo Mix. My gosh, he goes on for ages, doesn't he? I was listening to him yesterday, in and out. My son was listening to him saying, "Who is this guy?" I said, "That's Pablo."
Pablo has energy, doesn't he? Lots of
energy. Lots of energy. Always bouncing every morning.
As he always says, energetic.
The energetic segment.
Energetic with the H, you know.
And good Lady B has joined us this morning. You know, good morning, my lovely. It's not always she gets up this early anymore. We are privileged. Normally she signs on just for Pablo's show. She misses our show completely and I see her on Pablo's show. It's just like, you know, where's the love, Lady B? Good on you for being on this morning. And a lovely Adelaide Mackenzie. Happy birthday, my darling. Looking absolutely splendacious. I'm seeing all the photos on Facebook. Splendacious is what the word of the day is. Gonna have to use that a few times. Splendacious. Melly Mel, good morning. Laurie, and who else have I missed? Miss Kelza, and G-Force, and anybody else who I've missed. Well, good morning. It's back to the Breakfast Flight Show comedy special. We have our guest co-host, Rudi Lickwood, coming on shortly. At some point he's coming on. And then we have a guest, I think SharkyDJ has been saying, Eunice Olumide. Interesting character. This lady's a model, she's an actress, she's a broadcaster and aspiring comedian. So we've got a lot to delve into.
And also she's Scottish.
She is. She's Scottish.
She has got a brilliant accent. I tell you what, it's you know when you hear someone with just a complete different accent, yeah, to do a double take. Anyway, we will leave that for when she comes on. We'll discuss more about that. I'm excited.
Adelaide, you like the word splendacious? Yes, good. I'm glad you like it. That's the new word for you, Adelaide Splendacious Mackenzie. Now, we had a lot going on in the news yesterday. I spoke quite a bit about all sorts of things that were going on. Especially, I hope you guys took advantage of the water advice that I was given and the fact that you can get all these little freebie goods. Get Water Fit, please. Log on to that website and get all your little goodies. You can get shower heads, you can get tap accessories for your sink and all sorts of things that you can put around your house. So please, it's all free. I don't know how long it's going to be free for. And these days you get absolutely zero for free anymore. So please join on to that and get yourself some free goodies. Now, in the news this morning, there was something else I was speaking about on the back end of the show, but it's quite a bit of sad news. And I never start the show with, well, I say I never start the show with sad news, but it's something that we actually need to speak about. Now, Julian Cole, way back in 2013, May the 6th, actually, in Bedford, there was a scuffle outside a nightclub, and Julian Cole, police came along and arrested him. But what they did was a little bit of police brutality. I don't know exactly what they did, but there was a scuffle and he ended up with a broken neck and damaged spine. Now, the police were lying in court saying that he walked to the police van, but CCTV footage showed that he was dragged to the police van, which showed the extent of his injuries were already done before they actually arrested him and got him into the van. It's taken all of this time to go through court. He was 19 years old at the time, with his life completely taken away from him. He needs 24-hour care. Broken neck and damage to his spinal cord, and that caused brain damage on top of that as well. So he's completely incapacitated and, like I said, needs 24-hour care. Now, the family agreed on an out-of-court settlement with the police literally just this week. They settled on 1.2 million. With the police have actually admitted no liability also, and the family have been paid out. Now, in 2018, the policeman misconduct hearing found that the 3 police officers lied in their statements about his condition during the arrest. And like I said, they claimed that he'd been able to walk, but the CCTV footage showed otherwise. And if you see the young chap, I'm going to try and get a picture of him. His mother wept in court with the hearing, with the announcement, and they said that the settlement represented a substantial top up in terms of the additional care, therapies, and equipment that was needed. Now, the judge said that a representative of the Chief Constable of Bedfordshire, a representative, I may add, not the Chief Constable himself, had expressed his regret and an apology. And this was way back at a meeting in 2020. I have no idea if they apologised again whilst in court. But it's finally been settled after, 11 years, I would say? 11 years, a settlement for which police have been found lying. Why hasn't it taken 11 years for this to get to court? Lady B's written only 1 million. I said the same thing. The family settled for 1.2 million. If they've dragged this 11 years in court, I would have dragged it another 5. But obviously they're holding them to task. They're making sure that they need the money now. Obviously all this 24-hour care is not cheap to get your house redeveloped to accommodate for this. The family probably can't work. I don't know. 1.2 million seems like peanuts. I'd have been going for the jugular. I'd have had my day in court all day long. All day long. Verona Green agrees 1 million is not enough. Should definitely be more. What are you saying, Sharky DJ?
It should be more. It definitely should be more. Unfortunately, in this country, that's about the maximum amount that they are prepared to award with things like this. If that was in America, he'd be getting around about 20 million, 15, 20, maybe more. And that's one thing good about America. The compensation payouts are good, but in this country, you're lucky to get that.
White collar justice ensures a bigger payout. So you go against a bank or something like that, they will come for you for money. Now, at the end of the day, and this is, like I said, a great bugbear of mine, the compensation that has gone out to the postmasters has been 600,000 as a minimum to each postmaster, right? The postmasters it was corruption by the post office, and they're getting 600,000 as a minimum. And this person's life that has been destroyed by the police, there's no coming back up and refixing their life and going back to work for a post office or setting up a little shop or buying a house. His life has been destroyed, and they think the best payout was 1.2 million.
Yes, not good enough. I mean, I don't understand how they work out their compensations and the priorities when it comes to things like this. I mean, you've damaged that guy's life completely, all because of an egomatic terrorist of a police officer. And that's what I will call them. Some of them are terrorists.
And the worst thing is, this slips right under the radar. Why isn't this? I mean, it's on the BBC website, but it's not on the mainstream news. It's not highlighted. All that's dominating the news is the postmasters and Mr. Bates at the moment, Kate Garraway, right? I want to see what's dominating the news for our people, the missing justice that's done there and what they are doing about it, such as the Windrush that's still ongoing. I still will fight for that. And something needs to change. We can't just sit here all the time and have this done to us. And we've got 1.2 million. That's going to go like that. A couple of specialist equipment, medication.
And on top of that, it's like, we award you 1.2 million and we've got no liability.
What is that? How can you do that? How can 3 police lie in court?
Why are you paying out 1.2 million if you're not going to accept liability?
Well, that's like Prince Andrew, though, isn't it? He paid out 11 million, didn't he? He paid out a lot more, and he didn't accept any liability. But we do know it was him. We do know it was Prince Andrew.
Of course.
That wasn't my hand around that girl in the picture. It was his hand. It was as red as his face.
I like that one.
It was as red as his face. He was saying he don't sweat and all sorts of things. We are changing the story somewhat, but I tell you what, Julian Cole, we need to be doing some crowdfunding for this young chap, for the family. That's what we should be doing, and supporting our fellow people. But 1.2 million is certainly not enough.
About 12 degrees in London, going up to 13 degrees today, and 13 degrees around up north should be around about 11 degrees. Average of around 11 degrees all over the UK. It's going to be a wet day, so it's one of those days you need to carry out your umbrella. Okay. HBQ.
It is so windy outside as well. I don't know where
It
this wind is
is,
coming from. It's been blowing since yesterday. And can you see Willow here this morning? She's
as
made an appearance.
always. As
She w- she w-
always.
she was locked in my garage last night. She comes in there sometimes when I'm in there, and I opened the door this morning. She comes flying out. But Lady B says her boiler is broken. It's getting fixed this morning, so electric heaters are out. It's not a good time to have the boiler busted. Don't have the boiler
No.
busted in winter. Get it serviced before that happens. Honestly, it's a nightmare. I remember once my whole gas went out during one cold day. I had to wait 6 hours for British Gas. It was horrible. It was horrific. It was not nice. Anyway, coming into good morning, Swaby Irie, Mr. Bosie Boss. Good morning. We haven't seen you in a hot minute, sir.
Morning, Swaby. Mr. Swaby Irie. Bon up the place.
Anyway, in the news this morning. Now, you know what? Jealousy doesn't just happen when you're young. It transcends throughout the whole of your whole life. Beware, men, right? A woman's jealousy should never be frowned upon because wife, 71 years, tried to kill her husband and urinated on him after
Oh, God.
ex-lover's 1960s postcard came and she saw it and she went absolutely nuts. So this elderly woman is accused of trying to suffocate her husband with a pillow and urinating over him. Oh my gosh. After he received a postcard from an old girlfriend 60 years ago.
Wow.
Now, she's been arrested and charged with attempted murder and aggravated battery, 71, against an elderly person and tampering with a witness or victim. What is this woman doing at 71 years old? So these charges stem from basically an attack on her husband triggered by a postcard he received from a former girlfriend dating back to the 1960s. Now,
Oh,
this
well.
occurred last week in Miami, Florida.
Hmm.
Right? And basically, the violence erupted after she saw this post. Now, this was over 60 years ago, bearing in mind. This wasn't like this woman was postcarding him now. She found this postcard
Wow.
and absolutely lost it. Now, I say this is a good case of dementia. Right. It's a good case of onset of dementia coming on because it was 60 years ago. If it was last week, and to tell you the truth, if I was 71 and my husband's receiving a postcard from a girlfriend, good on you, mate. Just give her your pension here. Go and do what you're doing. Give me the pension. I keep going on about that in our old age. The pension is important. Marry someone with a good pension, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Don't worry about what the husband's doing at 71. Don't even worry about it. Just let him go and collect the money. Damn
Yeah,
it, woman.
you see that, guys. You gotta be aware, men. You have to be aware out there. Gotta be aware, men.
Don't worry about it at 71, Mrs. You're going to jail now for the rest of your little old life. You might even just suffer really badly in there. I don't know. I don't know. It wouldn't be worth it. Wouldn't be worth it. Wouldn't be
Is this
worth it
lady
at all.
from Florida?
She is. And
Yeah.
Lady B says they do say the craziest people in the world are from Florida. I don't know. Some
Mm.
of them are from Jamaica. I see some mad, mad, mad people in there too, from around the world. And Miss Sugar Sweet says Granny H block cell. Granny cell block H. Yeah, woman's going for it. Doing all kinds of madness. All kinds of madness, Sharky DJ.
Oh dear.
Now, after Sharky plays a track, we're going to talk about Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos. They are the two richest men in the world right now. How much money do they have? And how long will it take them to spend it? All that cash. Coming back with
Mm.
this, I had a real upset moment yesterday. I've signed on to a new dentist down here, and this dentist, it's a lovely dentist, and you've got men in suits coming in different consultations, different people seeing you, and I realised it's a real money-making scheme. I had a free consultancy, and then they came back and said, okay, well, this is the kind of work of schedule you need, this is how much it's going to cost, go there, get a treatment done. Oh, by the way, you're going to need this done. Okay, come back and make this appointment. I've had 4 appointments and nowhere near my treatment. Now, yesterday I paid £100 for a tooth clean, which was 20 minutes. I kicked up such a fuss. It was unbelievable. I'm going to go and get my money back because it wasn't worth it. £100 for 20-minute tooth clean and it wasn't even clean. What is that? I wasn't happy. I just wasn't happy at all. But anyway, talking about
They make
somebody
some
else.
money, the dentists do, don't they?
Listen, dentists and vets, dentists and vets are killing it out there right now because everyone wants to get their teeth done. So all this cosmetic alignments and Invisaligns are costing like £5,000 at the moment. You know, the track braces are just as expensive. They used to be the cheapest thing. Now they're just as expensive because everyone wants to get their teeth all lovely. So
Mhm.
dentists are taking full advantage of it, just like vets. They know everyone has pets. Nobody wants to see their pets suffer, so they have these real inflated prices. It's unbelievable. But let's talk about some humans here, okay? Premiership footballers, okay?
Mhm.
Now, a Premiership footballer is set to be one of the first to go into rehab for being addicted to laughing gas. Now,
Wow.
I don't know what it is with Premiership footballers. Why is it they always get hidden and covered? You know, so a footballer's gay. They don't know. It's just shrouded in all secrecy. A footballer is alcoholic. It's shrouded in secrecy. Why is it for footballers? Why are they hidden? Are they in such, I don't know, high regard that they're untouchable, that we
Have no
shouldn't find
idea.
out any of their addictions or past issues? But he's the first footballer to go to rehab for an addiction to laughing gas. Now, the usage is rife amongst the elite players, we've been told, even though it's illegal. Now, this particular Premiership star was admitted to a medical centre after his worried family asked his club for help. Now, the police had stopped a car in which he was a passenger and found dozens of canisters in the footwell. Now, this incident happened just weeks before Christmas. It didn't lead to police action because they couldn't prove who it actually belonged to. But his family are aware and asked the club for help. So the player was told if he wanted to save his career, he had to go to a specialist residential centre. So he's the first Premier League footballer to be treated for an addiction to nitrous oxide, it's called, or otherwise known as laughing gas. But it's completely rife amongst the players. Now, any guesses as to who this could be? Could be anyone, right?
No idea, but I'm sure that I can find
It's
that out.
probably an Arsenal player, right?
I just no, most probably either from Tottenham or Manchester United, Liverpool. Most probably Liverpool actually. But yeah, it's not hard to find that out. I mean, I just need to look in one of my WhatsApp groups. All the information will be in there.
I need to go to the dark web. That's what I need to do. I need to find out who's got access to this dark web that I
Oh,
can take a
everyone
look into.
has.
Yeah, it's just finding out how to get there. That's all. Thank you, Willow. She's departed from my lap. Anyway, so we'll find that out. So let's see if we can find out on the networks who this footballer is that's on Laughing
Yeah,
Gas.
I'm going in my group now, and I'm gonna see if I can. Cause I'm in a few football groups. I'm sure it's in one of them. They all the information goes in these groups. I'll have a look while I'm playing music or something.
Yeah, let's take a look. Let's take a look. Now, they say, I was talking about Jeff Bezos and what's the other guy's name? Elon Musk. They're supposed to be two of the world's richest men at the moment. They have money in between them. How much money do you think they have? I'm trying to find the article.
Have
This one's.
no idea. No idea. I'm sure you're gonna tell me.
You couldn't
You can
guess?
tell us
You couldn't guess?
between
Mixed
Elon
clouders.
Musk's a good few zillions.
You reckon? Let's throw it out to the mixed cloud. Let's play a tune. Mixed clouders, I want you to tell me if you know how much Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk is worth. How much money do you think they got? Okay, so Sharky DJ will be back shortly there. How did he pronounce that incorrectly? Thank you, Lady B, for ever educating us all the time. Now, as I said, we were talking about Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk. They have some money. Now, Amazon founder Jeff Bezos has a net worth of 193.8 billion. That was as of 2024. 193.8 billion, not million, billion. That's a lot of money. We could never see that sort of money in our lifetime. Now, Tesla and SpaceX mogul Elon Musk has a net worth of 198.4 billion. I mean, that's so much money. You will never be able to spend that money in your lifetime. Why have you got all of this money? Together, those two could eradicate world poverty. And I don't see why they don't. Instead, they have all these foundations and charities where they get all these tax exemptions and they put a lot into these things and put money in the presidential pot like that's the most important thing. And everybody else gets to starve underneath them. Now, could they possibly spend that money in their lifetime? Could they spend that money? Now, they worked out, okay, how much it would cost or how long it would take them to actually spend that money if they had it all. Now, apparently, if they spent 1 million a day, okay, give them a budget of 1 million, it would still take them 476 years to spend their billion. Imagine that. 1 million a day they could spend, and still it would take them 476 years to spend that money. If you think about the money in the bank and the interest that's consistently being added to that type of cash in the bank. I mean, we're not talking about like £10,000 in the bank where you get maybe £200 interest on the year. We're talking about 193 billion in the bank. So even a 6% interest rate on 193.8 billion is a lot of money. I'm sure it's a million a week, perhaps, something so. Someone do the maths for me. Someone work it out for me and work out what that is. But yeah, that's a lot of money. They need to separate some of that cash and give us some cash. Whereas what they're talking about now is that most of us have less than £500 saving in our bank accounts. 1 in 4 adults currently has less than £500 in saving. Now, I can imagine that's actually quite true. The way that the prices have risen, the cost of living at the moment has not afforded us to save cash. We've had to dip into our savings, especially if you've lost your job, things get broken in your house, you haven't got enough money. Less than £500 in savings is not great, because what they should say is that you should always have 3 months worth of salary in your bank account as backup should you ever lose your job, because it takes you 3 months to lose your house. You know that you're 3 months away from being homeless. That's what it is. So don't ever believe because you've got a house and you're okay. 3 months, you miss 3 months mortgage payments, the banks are coming after you if you don't kind of, do some kind of deal with them. So yes, be careful out there, people. And the one thing I didn't mention yesterday about water, okay? Now, if you are having trouble paying your water bill, sorry, this has just come to me and I must remember to tell you all before I forget. The water companies cannot legally terminate your water, all right? You will be given different ways to pay or some kind of direct debit, budget type of payment method, but they cannot legally take away the water from your house. So just letting you all know that, just in case any of you are having trouble paying your water bill, especially with the 6% or 9% price increases this year, just don't forget, they cannot take your water. They cannot cut it off. That doesn't mean to say that you must back up your bills and don't pay them at all. Right? Don't do that, people. And SharkyDJ, it's nice to see you back. Well, whilst SharkyDJ is still getting himself together, and whilst we're talking about money and jobs and everything. Now, I noted a couple of weeks ago that Rishi Sunak said that he wanted to push more people off of benefits and back into work. And he's doing a series of programs to encourage that, okay? One of them is making sure that people are being stripped of their universal credit as much as possible, or anybody on PIP. So they're having a drive to get as many people off of benefits and into the workforce. Now, I'm trying to make the maths work here. All right, because there are, as of December 2023, there are currently 934,000 job vacancies available in the UK. That's across the board, from cleaning jobs to the high-powered jobs. 933,000 vacancies, just short of 1 million. And this was a drop from the last month, where there was 951 vacancies. However, how many people are actually unemployed? There is 1.46 million. That's the rate of unemployment at the moment. 1.46 million people unemployed in the UK. So even if all the unemployed people took jobs, there still wouldn't be enough jobs to support all the unemployed. But the fact that there's 1.46 million, that's been a deep cut from years ago. That's not an awful lot of people still claiming unemployment benefit, like what the government is saying. If the government stopped wasting money on things like these big projects, millions and billions, we could save the country a little bit more and not be in this crisis that we are in now. SharkyDJ.
Oh, excellent, excellent. Good morning. So how are you doing?
Not bad, not bad. And yourself?
Well, I'm in the month of love. That's what I'm in.
Wait, I'm going to interrupt there for a second. I'm not feeling any love. Did anyone see me folding my hands, looking around? I must not be here.
I must
blend into the wall, because all I hear is, "Hi, SharkyDJ, how are you?" Start chatting. Hello, HPQ. Hello, Rudi. HPQ.
Good morning, HPQ. It's just that you're pictolated. for some reason. So I wasn't sure if you were there, yeah, or if I wasn't sure, to be honest with you.
If I move
So
around a bit, can you see me now?
no, I can't, unfortunately. It's like there's these little square, there's thousands, there's hundreds of little square boxes
You're
and
taking the
no
mickey.
image.
I think what it is that my beauty is dazzling your computer. That's what it is. It's
Is it me,
dazzling it,
Sharky?
you know. Well, we will come back to that because we've got a guest on shortly. So don't worry if you can't see me. I can always
Okay.
ring you and I can just be there in a different presence, you know, if you need to see me. But I'm definitely here. I hope you're well, Mr. Lickwood. How's it been going? And
Well, it's been extremely busy on the comedy scene right about now, and I'm hoping to get everybody ahead and jumping onto shows that they might not have considered or want to do at the last minute, because you know us brothers, we always get ready for Valentine's.
yeah.
Yeah.
Valentine's. ladies are well prepared for Valentine's. They have high expectations for Valentine's. So we'll move into what's happening over the next couple of days, as well as over the next month. And currently, Richard Blackwood is going to be on tour. Richard's going to be on tour, and he's going to be playing up and down the country. We've got a few, I believe we've got a few dates there for you of Richard, where he will be playing up and down the country. He just did his first show in Manchester, in a place called the Frog and Bucket. It was a sold out show, sold out. So, if it's possible, if we could bring up Richard's dates, because Richard has quite a few dates.
Yep. 2 seconds.
No, that's fine.
My eyes are not so good.
Yeah.
Which one is it called, Rudy? Love and Comedy?
It's
Just
got
Jokes?
the image with Richard Blackwood on it.
It's Richard Blackwood. Should be there. All right, here it is. Yep.
Yeah. Have you got it?
Yep. There you go.
There you go. If you go to Kobo events, as you can see, there's a number of dates there, especially if you've got Valentine's out there, and they're also up and down the country. So we're looking at places like London on the 24th of February, as well as that's the 10th. That's gone. I'm sorry guys. Leicester Square, 10th of February's gone. Never mind. But you've got Bethnal Green there. You've got Holborn, Brentford, Slough. He's going to be in Southampton. He's going to be in Wolves, which is your end, I believe. House Party Queen, that's your side of town.
Oh, yes.
Yes. He's going to be in Birmingham come March, and he will be in Leicester, Liverpool, and as far as Edinburgh and Glasgow in the latter stage of February. That's the 24th. And then we've got the Hen and Chickens in Bristol and Leeds. So if you are a big Richard Blackwood fan, please do get in touch with Kobo Entertainments, all right, and book a ticket. Book a ticket, man. Do you know what I mean?
Do you know, I've booked some comedy tickets next month. Whilst you talk about the rest of them, I'm going to find them because I'm not quite sure you've got the flyer for that one because it's in Birmingham. But as you go on, I'm going to try and find it for you.
Okay, that would be brilliant. Because the thing is that because we've got a special guest coming on, I can't cover everything that's happening this month. There is so much. It's ridiculous. On the first slide that we've got there, we've got Well, hold on. Where are we? That's right. We've got on the first slide, we've got It's Just Jokes. All right, that's coming up just around the corner, 7th of Feb. Are we in the 7th? Which is tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. And there's two gentlemen you really want to look out for, and that's Brandon Palmer and Elroy Welsh. Now, this is actually Elroy Welsh's show. Yeah, and it's in Milton Keynes, all right? Milton Keynes.
Okay, that's yep.
Yeah, because we often get a lot of we often get. How comes you lot never come? It's always about London. It's always about London. It's never about what's going on in and around. And as you can see, there's going to be quite a lot going on during the month of love. So please. Here's a chance for the people that are in Milton Keynes there and Luton and Bedford. All right, there's a comedy show happening tomorrow just around the corner from you. All right, do not miss out. Please don't miss out. All right, excellent. And then we've got the dating and relationships. That's happening on the 14th of February. That's another massive show. It's down at the Backyard Comedy Club. Okay, that's an actual Valentine's night where you see you've got Mr. C, right? A consummate pro, as we already know. All right, so I mean, he's a much older gentleman, so he'll have a lot to say about love and relationships, because relationships are never easy, isn't that right, Sharky? It's never easy.
Never. Relationships are just relationships, isn't it?
Oh my God! I think it's a hell of a lot on guys. I think the emphasis is on guys to make Valentine's work. So with that relationship and therapy, and plus they're going to have a game show. That's down at the Comedy Backyard. So see if you can get hold of some tickets for that. I'm sure that they will be about. Just go to the backyardcomedyclub.co.uk. All right.
Oh yes.
Jokes about dating and relationships. You're gonna love it. I know you're gonna love it. So go out there.
Definitely would like to go to that one.
Yeah. Go out there and get some tickets for that. All right.
Okay.
Number 2, we got Love and Comedy. Okay, that's happening on the 11th of February. Look at that lineup. Look at it. Where are you going to find a lineup like that? Where? Over the Valentine's. Don't listen, mate. You can do a pre-Valentine's thing with this show. All right? You got White Yardie there. Yeah, I saw White Yardie the other day. I don't know. He was complaining that people were holding him back and that. I don't know who's holding him back. We've got Mr. Richard Blackwood once again.
Maybe it's you.
Maybe it's me. I wish it was me who was holding him back. The guy's got a global market, global. We're talking about Canada. We're talking about Jamaica. Yeah, we're talking about the whole of the Leeward Islands. We're talking about America. Yeah. It's a massive market that he's in, and I wouldn't even call him a UK comedian anymore. I'd actually call him an international comedian. And selling out shows all around the place is Mr. Kane Brown. No doubt he most probably will be hosting. And we've got Mr. Junior Booker. Junior at the moment is the comedian's comedian, and he puts on shows down at the Tiger Bar in Walthamstow, I believe it is. Yeah, but you have to be quick to get hold of his tickets. He puts on shows 2 days, and then 2 days in he'll promote it, and then boom, the show's on. So it's not a long promotion, so it's very difficult to find him. In between there, we've got Mr. Savage, Christopher Savage with the red hat on. Now, Christopher and Kane Brown have a podcast out called #18. Right? #18. Is it plus? Is that right, Sparky? Because I know you said you're a great fan of it.
Hashtag.
I'm loving 18. The fact he called you Sparky.
Sparky, I do
Sharky, man.
I do like.
Don't cuss me.
I do like the A-Team. I do.
Don't cuss me.
I'm a fan. Yeah.
Sharky, don't cuss
Sparky's
me.
fine. Sparky, you know what? I've given up. Like I'll say Sparky, Sharky, whatever. As long as it begins with SH, I'm okay. Or it begins with S, and it's not insulting. It's fine. Sparky's fine because I'm a bit of a Sparky as well. Yeah.
You are definitely. But yeah, there's a podcast out on YouTube called #18. #18. Yeah, where you can actually sit down and watch Christopher Savage and Kane Brown tossing it up and down. So it's a great show, and it's just for adults only. It is X-rated, okay? So be warned, ladies and gentlemen. It's not something you want to just rush out.
That means you've got to stay at home.
Yes,
which show is this one?
And then I forgot to mention Mr. Ori Styler has also he's also got a tour that's happening. But we'll talk about him next month, okay? We'll talk about Ori and what's going on with Ori next month.
Stop you there just before you go on to the next one?
Sure.
Because
with big intentions. You better know that.
Oh, you
Yes,
caught
we're
me with
back.
my
We're
cup of
back.
tea. Just as having been.
Oh, don't worry. We've all got a cup of tea. We've all got a cup of tea.
And we all got a cup of chai.
I got
Okay.
a cup. I've got a coffee. I got a coffee. Yeah.
Oh, you got a coffee. You're more
Yeah.
sophisticated than me, bro.
Different class.
You got class. I ain't got no class. Me no class. Let me just do this quickly roundup because I can't wait to get our guest on. Sunday the 18th of February. That's number 5. We've got the comedy shutdown. That's happening in Leicester. It's something that I'm looking forward to. Unfortunately, I won't be able to get there. Would love to get there. We got some of the newer comedians making their way through. You got Kyra Gray, which I know you're a big fan of, HBQ. I know you're a big fan. I know you're a big fan. We got Michael Adiri, who is a doctor, believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, he's a doctor. He's an actual surgeon. He's actually studying to be a surgeon, but he goes up and down the country at the same time doing comedy. And I love the fact that he's coming from a totally different background. He's not just a road man. He's not somebody who works for the post office or the underground. Do you know what I mean? So he doesn't really talk about raves and stuff like that. He talks about what actually goes on in hospital, and I think that's great. And then you've got the wonderful Mr. Cat B. You've got Mr. Wonderful Mr. Cat B. He'll be hosting the show, so you can expect total madness when it comes to that show. Total madness. And then there's the electric Shabs Kareem. Right? Shabba. And he literally got that kind of energy. I'm not gonna lie. He's got that energy. And then towards the end of the month, I've got the Rants and Bants comedy club, which is back. That's where I introduce you to some of the established as well as the newer comedians coming through. It's Rants and Bants, that's right. And the tickets are available for that right now, ladies and gentlemen. You can get that from Eventbrite. All right, that's the 29th of February. It's a Thursday. So it's just after Valentine's. So all the people who were unable to get out for whatever reason, sometimes work commitments or sometimes children, or you may not have planned something, there is a little something for everybody up and down the country. All right. So let's not forget that. And I think we'll call that the roundup because I know that we have a guest coming on. But just before we bring on our guest, I'd just like to say belated happy birthday to Adelaide Mackenzie.
Okay, big up Adelaide Mackenzie.
Is it Adelaide Mackenzie?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But I believe it's her birthday, so I thought I'd do a quick shout out to that young lady. She's got a fantastic voice. I don't know if you've heard her.
Oh yes.
I don't know if we heard Adelaide. We listen to Adelaide all the time. I've got her jingles, everything. She's a fantastic. I remember actually we went to the Reggae Weekender and she was singing and I tried to do a duet. And of course, I failed miserably. I tried my best, though. As much as I'm an aspiring comedian, I'm an aspiring singer. I try a thing. That's all I can say. I try a thing.
I love you because I love the way that you have a go at anything, even when you're rubbish. You still.
Oi. She's not rubbish.
No, you have a go.
Take that back.
You have a go. No, because it means that you're not taking it
Have a go, Ali. Have a go, Ali.
Anyway, it means that you don't take yourself too seriously and you're living life to the full.
There we go. And we've got our guest that lives life to the full. She's got a very impressive resume. And I'll let you do the introductions, Rudi.
Okay. Well, I stumbled across this young lady by accident. The thing is that I should have known of her from a number of years ago. And it was through one of my fellow comedians by the name of Mr. C. Is when I found out that this young lady has produced a sketch show. But she didn't start out in comedy in the first place. Oh, no. So we have to give this young lady her accolades before we actually bring her on. She's an author. She's a film director. She's a producer. She's a model. She's an artist. She's an innovator in every sense of the word. And I think what we'll do is we'll bring her on and we'll allow her
Can I ask one question as well? Is she a pilot as well? Because it sounds like this woman could be a pilot too.
I think. Listen, mate. She is an astrophysicist. Believe it or not, she studied atomic physics.
Can we bring her on? We're all dying to meet her now. Thank you.
Hello.
Please welcome
Hello.
on
How are you?
Miss Eunice
Good
Olumide.
morning. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you so much for having me. Peace and blessings to all of you guys. It's so nice to see you. Thank you.
I'll tell you what, you know, when you go to Jamaica and you see a white person talking Jamaican and you all stand there and stare, it's like we've got this beautiful lady that's speaking Scottish and you've got the most beautiful accent. Love it.
Thank
They will never take our freedom. They will never take our freedom.
I feel like doing my introduction. Usually when I come on shows, anything that's down south or in the big smoke, as we call it, I have to do my RRP introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome Eunice Olumide.
Excellent.
Eunice, I have to ask you this question.
I like that. You said that like I was like a football player, you know. Yeah, and it's like a full-on game, like Illuminate's on the ball, and yeah, I like that. Continue that.
Yeah, well, I've got to ask you this question. I mean, how do you go from studying atomic physics to becoming a model to becoming how does this all happen?
Well, I think I was a fashion model first, although I might have been an atomic physician before. I'm not quite sure, but I definitely was in the occupation of the fashion of the modeling from around about age 15. And then I basically got signed to this big agency in London. I was supposed to move to London. My mom was like, are you mad? Are you crazy? You go to university, you study. I was like, all right, cool. So I decided to not move to London, and I decided to start uni quite young, 16. And
Wow.
Cut a long story short, I studied a bunch of stuff, and I did my master's, and I did that in metaphysics. And as I was studying metaphysics, I became obsessed with atomic physics. And after studying atomic physics, it basically ruined my entire life because I then was way too understanding of life. And it's kind of like, you know, when you like learn something that's like super important, you have this epiphany and it's like you can't go back after you've studied it. It was kind of like that. So it was like, right, the whole world's connected. Every single human being's connected, even in an even more sophisticated way than like trees. And we know until really recently that Western scientists actually believed that like trees were independent as opposed to having this complex integrated support system underground. So then you find out like there can't really be such a thing as individualism. We're all one collective of human beings, and where one person suffers, we all suffer. But in our modern environment, I would argue, say from around about the Industrial Revolution and the implementation of capitalism to where we are now, there's like, it's better for business and money if we are all living as individuals as opposed to as one family. It doesn't mean we need to like each other. It's just understanding the concept of, I live in a tower block. If I go buy milk, it's going to cost me this much money. Whereas if everyone in the tower block meets up and is like, okay, we all buy milk. Let's buy some milk in bulk. You're going to pay like 25p instead of like £2, or maybe 20p or 10p.
Yeah.
Eunice, very quickly, okay, because you said you studied metaphysics, and I'm thinking, what's metaphysics? I don't know what that is. So just for the people that don't know, for the dumb people like myself, I looked it up, and Eunice can expand on this. But metaphysics, quite simply, is the study of reality and existence, who we are and what our purpose is. And I loved what you were saying about we can't live as individuals, because I've been reading up a little bits, not so much metaphysics, but physics, and that we should be living, most things exist in a symbiotic relationship, and perhaps you can expand on that a little bit more about metaphysics.
Well, to be honest, Queen, you did the most incredible definition. Almost what I would have said word for word. The only thing I would add in is that, you know, in the modern Western world, we tend to be quite infatuated with ourselves, is a nice way to say it. I'm meaning more scientists, and we actually think we know some stuff. Whereas if you look at old school philosophers and scientists and really smart people, they never thought they knew anything. They would always say, well, I this is what I think based on this. They were never so arrogant as to believe that they knew, whether that's Socrates or Plato or Umberto Eco or people that have really defined the laws of physics. Whereas modern scientists who know nothing in comparison to them, they'll say things in definitive manner in order so that we can progress in our current neoconservative capitalist society. So basically, the only other thing that I would add into that definition is that metaphysicians also consider, well, I like to consider the things that are unknown. So, for example, there's places in the earth where salt water and fresh water meet but don't mix, which is apparently scientifically impossible. So there's so many things that happen in the world that are unscientific, that are not possible, that are miracles. And never mind if you look at space or the human body. And, you know, when you start studying the human body in nature, whether that's the eye, you know, we still haven't come up with a computer or a camera that can do what the eye does, but the advances we have in those departments are from studying the eye. So it's like, for some reason, we live in a world where our uniqueness and our miraculousness is kind of denied, I would argue. And we are currently pouring all this money and resources into artificial intelligence and into computers, as opposed to pouring all this money and resources into human beings.
Yeah.
So it's like people argue like, oh, so I'm the most annoying person in the world to a politician or a scientist, like, because normally a scientist, most scientists have come up within a capitalist system. So back in the day, when the Europeans used to come to Kush and Abyssinia, aka Africa, etc., Timbuktu, and study at our universities, which were the greatest in the world, the word university meant universal. So you had to study multiple things, multiple sciences, and you had to study, and also it would be useful to play an instrument or to study comedy or to study theater. These were all part of one field of study, because we believed in the universal. Whereas nowadays, if you want to become a doctor or a pharmacist, you will study one thing. So you'll study biology, but you won't study physics and chemistry. And then when you leave, and then there'll be no ethics, or there'll be no philosophy mixed in. And ethics, to me, is the most important thing in any type of science, because the question is not, can we do something? The question is, should we do it?
Should we?
So there you go.
Yeah.
And that just destroyed my whole fashion career, because then I was like, even though I was so young,
can I ask you to stick a pin there, because you just mentioned your fashion career? I mean, I want people to understand what level that we're actually talking about, because I think one of your first things was Vivienne Westwood. Tell us about Vivienne Westwood.
Auntie V, she's a G. I tend to attract all the G's and all the people that are into saving the world type stuff.
I've just shot some images up from you, by the way.
Yeah, we just saw it.
So I started out, I remember when I was really young, like 15 or something. I come from the hood. I'm talking the straight hood. Like, I'm talking, let me try and reference it for the Anglo-Saxon. Do you know what I'm saying? You get me? Yeah. Farm.
I mean, Scotland was not, because you're in Edinburgh, isn't it?
You take farm, multiply it by 222, you get where I'm from. But we no black people, only white people. They're like the cream.
Correct, you're based in Edinburgh, is that right? Is it Edinburgh?
Yes.
Yes.
So basically, I didn't even know that was a real career. So I get catapulted from the hood in Scotland to catwalks with some of the biggest designers in the world, which was quite a trip, to be honest. And then, because my mum was like, oh, you need to not move to London, you need to go to uni, as all Niger family are. It doesn't matter if you're walking for Dolce & Gabbana on the cover of Harper's Bazaar and Glamour, whatever, like, you need to go to uni. So after I went to uni, it ruined my brain, because now it's like, oh, damn it, I'm going to be the face of capitalism. I was like, I can't be the face of capitalism. I cannot be the face of the thing that sells the thing to the people that don't need the stuff that we're buying. So that kind of like really restricted what I felt I could do, the brands I could work for. You're talking like at 15, more than 20, like 20 odd years ago. Do you know what I'm saying? So now,
wasn't you lured into, because like how you're in the fashion, you lured into like doing bikinis or taking a breast out, or
well, I say, like, I learned pretty young. Luckily, I had like a really strong knowledge. I'm really into Pan-Africanism, and I'm really into just everything. I love studying the world and the solar system and all these things. So I could never really do any of the normal things that people do to advance their career, because I'm too overwhelmingly affected by my impact on the planet and on the universe. Whilst I feel like, you know, particularly with women or any human, like, you do what you want to do. You have free will. I believe in God. I fear God. So I feel like God does grant every human being free will, and nobody should judge them, right? So I don't feel like everyone has to have a social responsibility. But for me personally, I have a huge social responsibility to the point where I allow it to affect the bag. So I'm not going to do certain things that I know are bad for myself, or potentially could influence people in the wrong way. So I work with young offenders. I used to go into prisons, which I've never actually talked about, like Corton Vale or women's prisons, and I work
you
with
and HPQs are going to be
Eunice,
snaps on this one.
By the
young
way,
black girls.
just
Yeah.
to interrupt you there slightly, Rudi, that question. Looking at this young lady's impressive resume and the fact that she studied metaphysics, who we are and why the reason why we're here, and this young lady has studied quite sufficiently, masters, and the things that she's involved in, I'll almost say that you are a sustainability activist. You said that you've worked with young people, you've been awarded an MBE.
Yes.
You've also worked in certain different projects, not only just modeling, but using your modeling and the plethora of knowledge that you've got to help. You've worked alongside Windrush as well. So I know you're going to expand on all of that, but I just think that, I suppose with all the experience you have, you never needed to pull into that avenue, knowing what it could end up being. You know yourself, you knew exactly what you needed to do. And obviously, I don't know if I could study anything like metaphysics. I feel like it would confuse you to understand why we're here.
You'll become obsessed. It's so fascinating. It's like, wow, this is so interesting. The only problem is they put in these really big books with tiny writing. I don't know why they do that.
Or in Latin.
Necessary.
I understand that one.
You've actually written the book.
You have to pull out the spectaculars. Yeah, I'm saying, like, just to be able to see it. When they could make it real big, and they could just teach you it in school when you were a young person, when you were a child, and you had the capacity to completely absorb it. Instead, they wait until you're fully formed and your brain's going all rock hard, and you can't really process things. So, yeah, I mean, I just kind of let that manifest in everything that I do. So everything I do is kind of like a platform, really, to advocate for humanity and for social justice. And you made a really important point, which is about human beings and why you should never judge someone, because you never know what a person's gone through to get to where they are. So if you see someone doing something that you don't necessarily agree with, you don't know what their life chances were. So in terms of the way that I see myself as a human being on this earth in the eyes of the creator of the heavens and the earth, it's like, I can't just do what everybody else might do, because I have so many different things I could do. Whereas if I could only do fashion, maybe I'd be justified in doing everything and anything to kind of get something like that. Although I would say that I have severely sacrificed and to a certain extent even being punished for not conforming and not doing the things that people want to do. But unfortunately for me, the work I did with the young people, so in predominantly white communities, but then the work I did, and that was around knife crime, Scottish government, but then the work I did with young black girls who have some of the highest suicide rates, and the way that dark-skinned black women, particularly black children, have been neglected since a young age. It just blew my mind. You know, if you understand that, like, you know, since George Floyd, there's been an explosion of facts around black women, and we understand that because of the stereotypes and the perceptions of black women of being so strong, like that actually manifests in mortality rate. Like, we die quicker. We go into hospital, we don't come out. We're 5 times more likely to die in childbirth than a woman. If you're having a 6-7 figure sum, you're still 5 times more likely to die than a woman who's Caucasian and from a very poor background. Same way that we're most likely to be child sex trafficked, prostituted. And actually, when you look at studies, and I can send you a link to some of the studies that are done by top level researchers, one of the reasons that traffickers use for abducting black girls is that the police don't come after them. They get lighter sentences, and they have a perceived idea that it's less of a bad thing. So when you study these type of things, for me, it's not possible for me to be promoting hypersexualization and certain things, because I'm so concerned about, well, what am I teaching, like, young black girls? Like, what are they thinking? You know, and
is that one of the reasons why you wrote the book, How to Get Into Fashion?
100%. How to Get Into Fashion. There's a few different books I've contributed to: the Loud Black Girls Anthology, Universal Cultural Declaration that I did for the UN. I also contributed to Stephen Lawrence's book, Black Britain, and a few other books, and I have another book coming out. But yeah, it's just about, you know, the arts and entertainment industry, whether it's fashion or music or and acting particularly, which is why I love comedy, which we'll get into.
Yeah, we're getting there. I know. We're slowly making our way there, but we're trying to pick through. We're just trying to pick through your resume at the moment, because it's quite elaborate. It's quite broad.
These industries, you know, they don't have a manual, which is why I wrote How to Get Into Fashion. There's no manual of how to become a fashion model. So, you know, because I've always had really strong beliefs, or what morals, or whatever anyone wants to call them, I don't know. I just do me personally, and
you've got morals, you've got principles. That's it. I mean, but what I found fascinating is that along the way, you've, as HPQ mentioned, you picked up the MBE, and what was that for?
I got that for broadcasting, arts, and charity, and I'm not sure how, because I'm constantly, you know, have been a proper activist and agitator, and I have campaigned around the impacts of colonialism, as well as the Commonwealth and its effects on what we refer to as Africa and African diaspora, i.e. us born in the West, to a high level. So it's really strange that the Queen of England would honour me in such a way. I was not sure about taking it.
We've actually got an image of your showcase.
Yeah, I ended up getting now King Charles, because the Queen, she'd hurt her knee. She couldn't stand on the stool. I was just this for the comedy, and she couldn't stand on the stool.
There you go.
Well, yeah, this is it. So they made this whole gallery about my life in the museum, which is really funny to me. So basically, I wasn't going to take it, and then I talked to the elders, which is the thing that I do, and we should all do. And I think coming from Africa, because my parents are from Africa, it's like instilled in you. So basically, my granny is 109, right? So when you've got a grandparent that's that age, or she could be 111, because she's known for taking at least 5 years off her life. Do you know what I'm saying? But anyway, the point is that you feel like super young, even when you're in your 30s and 40s, because my tribe, Yoruba tribe, like, you can't really speak until you're at least 50. That's like you, like, not like you're now qualified to open your mouth, right? So I always like to ask people who are older than me, what do they think? And it was fascinating, because they were all like, no, you have to take it. This is not about you. This is about our legacy. This is about what we sacrificed for you to be here. And I was like, right, this is more like a fingerprint of our name. So then I was like, okay, I'm going to take it, but I'm going to donate it to the museum.
Okay.
so that I can, and then in the museum on that plaque, it actually encourages the viewer to discuss all of these topics around colonialism and the Commonwealth, and obviously transatlantic slave trade. And I thought that would be better than merely rejecting it. So
You
that's
didn't
what
do a Benjamin Zephaniah then, in other words.
Huh?
You didn't do a Benjamin Zephaniah, in other words.
Well, I think that, too often we can close down conversation, and the problem when you do that, especially if you're someone that overstands the situation, is you forget that a lot of people don't overstand the situation, and you haven't really explained why you've done such a thing.
Okay.
And it's much better to try and find a way where you can actually explain why you've done such a thing,
Okay.
as opposed to just closing it down. And that's what the system doesn't really want you to do, which is explain why you've done what you've done. Because, a lot of people, whether they're Afro-Caribbean or they're Caucasian or Asian, are going to actually agree with you now. They're going to be like, wow, I never knew that. Wow, I never knew that. And this is the problem, because when we go to school, since particularly, I would say, the Industrial Revolution, which actually happened in Scotland, education has changed from being based on stuff that actually helps us in our day-to-day lives to other stuff, shall we call it. And the other stuff is not particularly useful to unity or understanding of the other human beings around us. And I think, particularly in the UK, we're very disadvantaged. I think that we're kind of not taught history because it's not in the interests of
It's not in the interest of capitalism. I mean, a lot of the education that we were given at schools was really to prepare us for the workplace, as opposed to preparing us for life, so to speak. But then you talk about having to jump over obstacles, etc. And I know that you was up to actually performing on Strictly Come Dancing, I believe. And 1 minute you were, and next minute you weren't. What happened there? What happened?
I don't know. I just think my problem is, someone said this to me recently, and they're like, "Do you know what your problem is?" They're like, "You're always too ahead of your time," And I think one of the things that, things like terms like activism, they're kind of just thrown around like anybody has that title. And I think that the mistake I made is talking too honestly and openly and doing too much work in a pre-George Floyd world. I didn't wait till it was trendy to try and talk about social issues. I did it when it was not cool and not popular. And the people that did that were punished very severely. There was an article I read about myself in Independent, and they were comparing the parallels between Colin Kaepernick and myself. And I kind of wish they'd went further, and then they had noted that at least in the USA, when you stand up for something that's right and then you get knocked down for it, at least they kind of make it back up to you in the future. Whereas in the UK, it's like, we've totally mistreated this girl, but we're just going to pretend we didn't do it. And we're going to find other people that we already like, and we're going to give them the opportunities. And I think a lot of the time in Britain, the people who are actually doing the work in the community, they get excluded. And then now it's trendy since George Floyd. You have predominantly the people that were already in media speaking on those topics. And that has really profound consequences. For example, this beautiful, amazing girl, really sweet, lovely girl, can't remember her name. She's on Good Morning Britain. She's the wife of the gentleman from JLS.
Okay, I know who you're talking
about. Gosh, what's her name?
She was,
I know her name. Yeah, it's just eluded me.
It'll come to you. Maybe someone can Google it. But she was chosen to make a documentary on dark-skinned Black women and why their mortality rate was so low. And
Rochelle.
There you go.
She's seems like the nicest girl in the world, right? But after George Floyd, she was chosen to make the show because obviously people like her. She gets on well with everybody at her channel. But unfortunately, if you Google search it, you'll see that she did a whole interview in the Metro about how she received death threats, how much abuse she got. and how much abuse she got from our community as well.
Right.
And that was because there's no background of her working in those industries, being an activist, or particularly working or caring about those topics, right? So when you choose someone who doesn't actually have a background in those areas, it actually has a double negative effect, right?
Yeah.
Because the person is, and when you give the opportunity to talk to that person just because they're already famous or we like them, you're wasting it. You better
Right.
go get some unknown person that's working in the community and give them 1 minute on the mic. I guarantee you what they're going to say could be life-changing and life-saving. And that's the difference. So we're not really doing that in the UK. For some reason, we are not allowing the people in our communities who work with our communities on a day-to-day basis to talk about how we can really go forward. But that might not necessarily be the priority. So I would say that there is a bit of an emphasis. I mean, I just think you're more popular in the UK if you stay away from complex issues,
Eunice,
or
if you stay away from social commentary, they much prefer
yeah.
you.
And actually, one thing that annoyed me quite a lot is when I spent most of my life doing social justice and community charity work in my community, which is absolutely Caucasian, right? So
Yeah.
nearly all the children I worked with and all the people I helped were white. When I was campaigning for that, everyone thought it was brilliant. But as soon as I turned that to like people who look like me, it was like, oh, you can't say that. You're not allowed to talk about that. It was like, oh, this is fascinating. Like I had no idea that just talking about my lived experience and other people's experiences would be so controversial.
It would, when you consider that you're doing it, you're now doing it on a national level, because you're talking about radio, you're talking about TV, you're talking about what is really going on and happening in the world, and they tend to want to shut down any kind of intellectual black person who has something to say. I mean, because you're doing films, you're a director, but tell us how you got into the world of comedy, because this is
Comedy.
the comedy roundup.
Well, from a really young age, obviously I grew up in Edinburgh in the hood. So my mum got me into theatre. So I was always doing theatre. Edinburgh is a big theatre city. And we have this event. We have a number of different festivals, with the film festival, TV festival, bunch of jazz festivals, and we have the Edinburgh Fringe. So if you're from Scotland, like the Fringe is just like a normal thing. So from a really young age, I used to run this night with a few other people, the Wee Man and another guy, and it was basically we used to run comedy rap battles.
Okay.
And basically we would get all the comedians from London and Scotland and mix them all together, and we'd have like these battles, sometimes with teams, sometimes individuals. And it was hilarious, and it was just a really good show for the comedians themselves to kind of blow off steam, have a laugh, do something they don't usually do, and it was so funny. Yeah, it was so funny.
Because that was new, but it was actually taken to TV as well.
Hell yeah, we had a lot of people come from England, and then we saw shows coming forth, you know, like Don't Hate the Players or whatever, you know, I don't know, like it's just weird. Like 1 minute they were at the show, next minute there was this show, and I was like, Anyway, yeah,
you actually did you actually did a one-woman show in Edinburgh, if I'm correct.
I did. I was doing.
I believe we got an image of that as well.
Yeah, I did. I mean, I was doing. I do a lot of presenting and hosting, and I had done quite a bit for John Bishop, the comedian. And I had gone on a tour with this guy called Michael Winslow, who's in all the Police Academy movies, doing improvised kind of stuff with him.
I was actually in Edinburgh when he was doing that show. I was
right.
Actually
So
but the thing is, I don't remember seeing you. I don't remember seeing you when I was up there. It's like
John or Michael.
Huh?
John or Michael.
Michael.
I wasn't in. That's when I met him. So he saw me in John's show, and he saw me hosting, and also I DJ at quite a lot of the opening events at the Fringe. We have a bunch of different opening parties. So he met me at the Fringe.
Okay.
That was really funny. He took me on tour in the USA. That wasn't
taken on tour. Hold on. Stick up.
Yeah, but that was that was as a host. That wasn't as a comedian.
Okay.
So when I came back from that, I did like a 5-minute thing at this event called Old Rope.
Yes, I know that. I know the Old Rope. Yep.
Tiffany.
Tiffany. I know Tiffany who runs the store as well.
I can't remember all their names, but they put me on, which was fantastic. And I was like, oh, this is quite good. I quite like this. And then I kind of like didn't do any more comedy. And then obviously I had this whole situation where I kept telling the truth on the telly and people didn't like it. So they chucked me off the telly. And then I lost all my jobs and all my TV jobs, and I was no longer on the telly, and my agent dropped me, and I lost all my contracts and all my money.
How did that make you feel?
And I was like,
Eunice.
Yeah.
How did that actually make you feel? Because
bro,
you seem to have like a certain
that's way too. That's not this time in the morning, bro. That's deep. Okay, we are not going there. We do comedy, not to go there.
That's a great question. She just skimmed over it because of
it's
not easy.
That was too much. It was too much.
The thing is, though, Eunice, is that it
if
never
you don't
stops
have
you.
Strength of character, you won't still be here.
That's right. That's
for most women, I would say.
Anybody. I think men, they got high suicide rates and stuff as well.
They do.
Yeah, that's because women are breaking our hearts and we're walking in front of buses. That's why.
Go, Rudi. You go,
the thing
Rudi.
is, Eunice, is that you've got a fantastic image behind you. We can see Marlon Davis. To your right, and we can see Booker. Yeah. All the way to those guys. Now, you've just now mentioned how you got kicked off, you got thrown out, nobody wanted you, but yet you've come back with this comedy sketch show, which is what I really wanted to get down to. The fact that tell us about this show. Tell us about
So basically, I decided to write, direct, and produce a stand-up comedy show like a nutter, which I did, and I performed at the Stand Comedy Club. And it's really weird. I happen to have a flyer here. I don't know where it came from. I don't know if you can see it. You might have a flyer. Anyway.
Is this the same one?
This is actually from the sketch show.
Okay.
So I did this show called Afro Politicool. And it was basically, I did the show. I sold out the show. I don't know how I sold out the show. I actually made money. Apparently, this is a big deal at the Fringe. And I ended up doing 36 dates, which is crazy. / simultaneously filming 3 episodes of Edinburgh Unlocked with a really great comedian. My brain's candy floss not working. Can't remember his name. But the point is, someone from BBC Comedy came to my show, and they were like, "You got really good sketches. You should make these into shows, sketch shows, and I'm going to commission you to make some sketch shows." And I was like, cool. And then, so I took these scenes from my comedy show and I basically turned them into sketches. And that's how I created Afrish. The title actually I came up with an amazing comedian called Mr. C.
That's right.
And so, an Afro Scot in Brixton is the show for the flyer that is behind me. You can see all the guys. If I move here, you might see more of the guys. You might see more of the guys.
In fact, you know what? Let us cut you there because I believe we've got a clip, right? Just to give people a little taste of the actual sketch show that you've done. Is that okay, HPQ? Is that
the pilot for Afrish? Is
That's
that the one?
Right. Yes.
Actually, Sharky, you run it. Our computers are very, very...
Excuse me, do you care where the piano house is? Bro, what? Are you from Scotland, fam? You Fed blood? Or you from Scotland blood? Or you from Scotland Yard blood?
Are you taking the piss?
Oi, can you say there's been a murder, fam?
Here, listen, yeah? There's only so many times I can say that, okay? Plus, I'm not getting paid for this. Please cease to go.
Danger. All you know is tweety tarting and kilts. Come try me, little girl, and you'll get killed.
Listen, they just bring the morning with a warning and a chance to repent. And half the man's in London, they pick me 50 cents. Listen, see the feds go through their pockets and they ain't got 50 pence.
Critical hit.
Listen, you can get kidnapped in Glasgow, the home of the mad fools and bad holes. You can catch a dose of the clap dog, get chopped up. Don't you know them cops just cut up what? And half the man's on the road, not even give up. Let's take clock.
Finish him.
Yes, fam. It has been a murder. You get me?
Listen, real boss fam, mine ain't really the bad type, but all this talk of bagpipes have got me in a mad hype. Like really, I'm kind of glad you took an exit, because usually we're more together than this, but I'ma blame Brexit. Yo, listen, between the good and the sinister, my mind's all over the place like the UK Prime Minister. That's bars, fam. Hey, man's got your back, bro.
Woo! So that was just
funny.
That was just a taste, man. You know. So how is the pilot moving forward? What's happening?
Yeah, it's really cool. We've got so basically we have African Auntie. So we did the pilot, which all the boys did, and we did African Auntie. That's got a really talented comedian in it called Verona Rose, myself. And that's going to be on BBC iPlayer. I'll let you know when that's out. And then we're in talks with a few really cool production companies. Don't want to jinx it, but I'm hoping that we're going to get to work with a really great comedian who's just opened his own production company. So we'll see how it goes. Really good.
Is that Omid?
Yeah, Omid Jali, yeah, legend. He gave me a lot of lovely encouragement when I was doing my stand-up, because I was playing at the same venue as him and Kevin Bridges and Frankie Boyle, which to me is like,
these are all top UK headline comedians.
I know. That's why it meant so much to me. And to be honest, you asked me earlier about comedy. So when I did the comedy show, it was in the backdrop of all that stuff we discussed. And for me, it was like, I was really doubting myself as an artist and as a creator. And I was like, oh, maybe I'm not that good and maybe people don't like me. That's how I felt. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to actually do something where I can actually connect with a real audience and a community. Because when you're on the telly, you can't actually see people. And you get a lot of keyboard warriors online. So the show was like a very cleansing experience. It was an opportunity for me to be myself as opposed to a trope or a caricature. Because for me, if you read the book Loud Black Girls Anthology, I felt like people were trying to put me in and project me as this really serious person, the angry black woman.
You're far from that. I've seen images
of my personality, That's like, I need to show people, real humans, who I actually am, and the best way I could do that was I felt through comedy. So that's why I did the comedy show, and also because I'd always worked with comedians, I found them to be personally, in comparison to the industries I've worked in before, the kindest, nicest people I've ever met.
We're free thinkers, young lady. We're free thinkers. We're not caught up in the use of the 9 till 5, which is basically what it is. So we tend to have a voice that we use, and I like the way that you've used it. I mean, you've come through modeling. You're a brain box without a shadow of a doubt. And in every step that you've made, you've always gone for the highest level that you could possibly go for. Obviously, you faced discrimination being Black Scottish. That must have been quite overwhelming for you. Did you?
I like the way you say Scottish.
Yeah,
Scottish.
I mean,
I like it.
was it a bit of a culture shock? Was it a bit of a culture shock for you when you were surrounded predominantly by African Caribbeans of London, say London. Was that a bit of a...
The thing is, like, when you grew up in the UK, it's kind of like the African American experience. Like, if I was from England, right, it's like, if you're an English black person, I would imagine that at some point in time you probably felt so oversaturated with African American culture that you could quote it word for word. You could speak it word for word. Like, it's a part of you. And when you grow up in the UK, turn on TV, you don't see black, Scottish, or Irish or Welsh people. You only see English people.
That's true.
Media in the UK is dominated by English people. You've got Lorraine Bailey.
I actually used to have this joke. Sorry to cut. It's just that I actually used to have this joke back in the day about being stopped by the police. And as I walked up to them, I said, "I'm black and I'm Irish. Is there a problem here at all? I'm a black man who's Irish now."
Like, you should do that. You know what I mean? So you just, like, it just becomes a part of you. Like, you understand the culture, like, inside out. And the issue is that I think English people are not really exposed to other parts of the UK, and they don't tend to travel there. So they can often have quite a parochial view where they don't understand you. And
you know something, Eunice? Even us as black British English, we're not exposed to black Scottish, black Irish, black Welsh. You know,
well, you could argue actually we African diaspora are almost split up from every other African that there is, and the only people we see are African Americans.
That is so true. I mean, there's a little birdie tells me that you're in a Netflix series.
I am. I had my Netflix debut this year. It came out on, I think, Christmas Eve. A really great show. Myself, Mo Gilligan.
Wow.
It's called The Outsiders. Amanda Seals is in there. Jendaya. There's a bunch of amazing people in there. I'm not remember any of their names for some strange reason.
It's okay, because I knew I just threw that on you. So
one second.
Hold on. I think HBK's trying to say something.
Eunice, I see that you've been involved in many academic political events. You've also moved into comedy. What's next for you? Is there anything that you haven't done? You've got so many strings to your bow. So amazing. I just want to see what's going to be next in store. And do you think that you use comedy as an outlet because of some of the serious work that you've done? Because you have done quite a bit of serious work. And sometimes, as you said, when you're studying, they encourage you to do comedy or acting as a byproduct. I understand that now.
Bro, you got it. Sorry, I don't know why I'm coming with this mad.
It's my South London accent. That's what it is.
Well done. Anyway, definitely, you're 100% right, Queen. I definitely, for me, comedy is like this kind of necessity in my life that I absolutely enjoy and love sharing. And it's kind of like how you experience being a DJ. Sometimes I DJ. I'm not a DJ. I call myself a selector.
All right. What's your favorite music?
What to play?
Yeah.
I play a lot of Afro beats, a lot of old school Afro beats, Fela Kuti, and new school.
Oh, Lady B will love you.
Yeah, and I also play old school hip hop, like proper, like old school hip hop, like conscious hip hop, 90s, 80s kind of vibe. And then sometimes I even play disco, but I play disco more because the places I tend to DJ. So I don't play clubs. I only play events, parties like GQ, Cannes Film Festival. I play at a lot of places in London.
GQ, you know. We're thinking the local dances in Tottenham. And we're here in GQ.
What I'm trying to say.
And I play like events, like I play like at the BAFTAs. I play like the Groucho Club or like maybe I play like not clubs and festivals, more like restaurants or like private members clubs. And it's weird because they're the only people that will allow me to play what I play. I can't, it's not on purpose. It's like, if I try and play at a club, no one's letting me play no Fela Kuti at no club. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, at normal nightclub, they're like, no.
Yeah, I can imagine somebody like Sharky D coming up and kicking you.
No, but you know what? I'm very open to music. Anybody knows me, I'm open to. Get off! Get her off!
I can imagine they go, I want this, I want it. Hey, I want
No, we listen. We like disco music because on Saturday
I love
night,
disco. I love disco.
One second, Delight ran a track. She played Dancing Queen. It was on my stories, and everyone loved it. The whole place erupted.
Who
There
doesn't
are some
like
disco,
Dancing Queen?
but there are some disco tracks. I don't care. She played Wonderwall by Oasis, and that's not disco.
Like Wonderwall? That's
Yeah, but I
beautiful.
saw you with the mic in your hand, though. I saw you with the mic.
I'm a Wonderwall. You know the tune.
It's gonna be the game. Sorry.
Before we wrap up, I don't want people to leave without knowing about your art gallery. Tell us about that before we slide off.
Well, going forward, in answer to the Empress's question, I will be focusing more on the making of the documentaries, which has always been my passion. Actually, as a child, at 16, 17, I wanted to be a director. Didn't get the opportunity. Doing that now. Moral of the story is sometimes in life, like, things happen beyond your control, and you'll feel like everything you've ever wanted has been taken away from you. But actual fact, that's just the creator or the universe or however you want to call it, making sure that you're going in and moving in the direction that was meant for you, that was set for you. So it's really important that when terrible things happen, that you take the time to try not to be overwhelmed by the situation. My biggest tip and hint is you need to learn how to pivot in your career. You need to learn, what are my strengths? What are the things that I can do that no one else can do? And play to your own strengths and do the things that really make you happy. Like, if you live your life trying to please other people, doing things that you don't really want to do because you think it's going to get you here, you might just wake up one day surrounded by a bunch of people that you don't even like. So I just think that, like, I was blessed by God to experience certain things so that I would understand and appreciate the tools that I've been given. And I feel that I'm going to actually end up in the place where I'm supposed to be.
Here. You're meant to be right here on the flight time, though.
Right about now. Yes, people. Yes.
So very quickly, guys, because unfortunately this is dug into my meeting time. I'm going to have to run off to a meeting very soon, so I can't do the jokes. But
you've got to do a joke.
Hold on one second. I might come back. One second, Rudi, because I really do have to jump on this call. But Eunice, you've been a pleasure. Okay, I'm going to steal you away from Rudi and get you on a separate show, because you have a plethora of information that we haven't even started to delve into. I kind of want to do a deep dive with you because there's too much I want to get to know, and you are such a fantastic person. Honestly, just absolutely amazing. And the Mixclouders are coming in and saying, what an absolutely amazing lady, multifaceted. I love it. That's coming from DJ Juicy. Susan Simpson said, nothing before its time. Jackie says, big up yourself. Yes. And Jackie's also said, hi everyone over here, love this show, so interesting and learning loads. We have learned so much. You can hear that the meeting starting there. We've heard so much from you today, and we want to hear some more. I'm going to leave it up to the rest of the guys. My queen, you are amazing. I'm going to speak to you shortly and have you on a whole separate show. So impressive.
No, I am here.
All right. Oh, that's better.
I try to do the professional thing and mute myself while the adverts were running. I feel so inadequate now that I've seen Eunice and seen what she's done. I mean, I've focused. I really did focus in on the comedy, because before that I was doing electrical installation, and to see the amount of things that she's done and the way that she's contributed to culture and the British way of life is actually quite amazing when I think about it.
Yeah. I do like the standards of that she sets for herself, that, you know, things that you're not going to really just accept just because, you know. Yeah.
I mean, I think it's great that she's set those standards. And the thing is that we've got to know about her accolades and the things that you've done, Eunice. But I believe that you're moving house at the moment. How are you finding that experience?
Pretty. It's not like chopping plantain and yam, is it?
Hey, excuse me a second. I just need to disappear a second. All right.
Sure.
It's all
Yeah,
good.
cool.
You gotta do what you gotta do. Sometimes, like, you gotta do what you gotta do.
What we
Is
gotta
what
do.
it is. We'll handle the biz. Focus on the prize. The prize at the end of the day is everything looking fabulous, everything in order, comfortability.
But I mean, at the moment, everything must be quite a bit of a shambles. I mean, once you start, when you're moving from one location to another, I can only imagine the sort of turmoil that you've got to go through. Maybe the settee is in the hallway. Maybe
Well, yeah, it currently is. But the thing is, if you look at it in another direction, right, you could learn many things such as agility, speed, patience. Every day, I have to pole vault that Fosbury flop over the sofa to access the computer. And, I become more flexible. So, yeah, pros and cons.
Okay. So what do you do? I mean, what is spare time for you, and how do you relax?
I largely enjoy walking, hiking, hang out with my family. I like a bit of dancing. I do the old Pilates. I like a bit of Pilates. And I do believe in having a very good spa membership. I feel like people think self-care is like, well, especially us females, sometimes I think we think that, like, getting your hair done and your nails and all that type of stuff is some kind of self-care. I don't think that is self-care. I am the person that walks around with no makeup on, goes on the telly. That's why I look a bit weird. Regular afro-ish hair, possibly blown out if you're lucky. So I think self-care is actually more of a spa situation.
Yeah.
Where you go into like a room and it got like different lights and steaming and nice perfuming and lavender and the thing, everything nice. And you go in the waterfall and you got the water, the cold mist and the warm and the tingle. And then you go in the dark room for the relaxation, or you lie there and you don't take no phone. You don't take no technologicalization in there. You stay in there. Next minute, you're in there like 3 hours. Are you feeling good, bro? I'm talking like one might be dancing randomly in public for no particular reason coming out of the spa situation. So I recommend it highly.
Because I actually saw a picture of you doing, I think it was a handstand.
I do. That's really all that stuff's so important. Like, I don't know what happened to human beings. Like, I was thinking about this the other day. I was watching this crazy documentary about the state of the United States in terms of like homelessness, and they were having these cops, and these cops were going in to do these house repossessions and stuff. And I was looking at these cops, and they were like going in with guns, right? And I was just like, this is mad. How are you going to go in someone's house with a gun just to evict them? Like, what happens if they get shot? They get shot just for not. That's too much. Anyway, the point was that the cops were really overweight, and I was just like, man, like, surely to qualify as a police officer, you should be in the best peak condition. Then you probably wouldn't need to use a gun, So there's this really weird thing where.
Are you talking about in the United States?
Yeah. There was a bunch of cops, and they were like really quite heavy, and they can't run. So obviously the only thing they can do is
donuts, isn't it?
And it's like, I just feel like our society, particularly coming from up north, has had a lot of social issues, particularly in a post-Thatcherite world, with everything closing down, and
at one point, Scotland was known to have the highest drug addicts, knife crime, all of that was going on. I think it was basically the neglect of the government when it came to, especially the UK government, and the way they treated Scotland initially, but I don't know. The world is a horrible place, and that's why I believe it is right to look after your own mental health. It is important that we take time out. I mean, I do Pilates myself. I'm trying to do the handstand.
It's really great. Do you know that actually standing on your head once in a blue moon will stop you from getting conditions like Alzheimer's?
Standing on your head, yeah. Oh,
because what you're doing is you're causing blood to run to your brain. So your brain and the blood is becoming oxygenated. And if you're constantly, humans are not built to be always upright. Like, we have these really weird positions in modern society, and we adopt these positions. So for example, let's talk about something like childbirth. So in Africa, in my culture, in Yoruba culture, if you're giving birth, you squat, or you turn into like almost like a downward dog in yoga. I'm not like a promoter of yoga, but there's definitely I don't not promote yoga. I think yoga is fantastic, but I do think people should understand it is a spiritual thing. It's not just like a sport. But there are moves within it that are great. But I'm not like into. I'm a monotheist, right? The point is that there are positions that we would go into naturally that help the body, particularly in ancient African spirituality and exercise. And, there'd be things we'd be doing, whether that's collecting nuts from trees and, whatever it was, where you'd be in different positions and you'd be learning how to use different parts of your limbs. But in Western society, unfortunately, all of us, regardless of your race, background, or color, we're predominantly like sitting in front of computers or lying flat for everything, even like in childbirth. When how is that the right position? Do you understand?
It can't be the right position. I mean, if you're lying down at a horizontal and you're horizontal and gravity pulls down, it is the obvious thing to do would be to squat. But as we know, westernized medicine like to turn things around and like us to do things their way, so to speak. Hence why we've got so many natural ways of fighting disease, whether it be using soursop, whether it be using ginger, whether it be using lime, etc., etc., etc. But we know that these are free and you can't really profit from it.
Monetize.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exercise is the most important thing. Like, for me, if I don't go to the spa, Rudi, Sharky, you missed that. I was just saying that I don't really see all this fakery cosmetics and getting your hair and nails. That's not self-care. Like, self-care is going to your Pilates class, going to a spa, spend the money, go get a proper membership, go to somewhere you can like relax and meditate and not have your phone, have light therapy.
The phone is the biggest thing, isn't it?
What I mean?
Yeah, I said the phone is one of the biggest things.
Yeah, it's just like putting poison. It's like polluting your mind, and it's got electrical currents through it that are running through your body. Anything that you can do to be in a situation where you're removed from technology is a really good thing. And once you get into that environment, you might not be someone that likes swimming. I like swimming. I swim. But sometimes I'll go to the spa and I'll just go in the hot tub. I won't even go to the swimming pool and just relax. The spa that I use, they have an outdoor pool that's on the top of a roof.
Wicked.
So
where's that?
That's in Edinburgh. That's my favourite one.
Where? The one on top of that sounds so.
Well, that's at the Sheraton.
It's at the Sheraton. Okay.
Yeah.
No,
it's a lovely treat. You should
we're actually coming up to Edinburgh soon.
Stay at the Sheraton and go to that spa. Take your partner. You'll have a fantastic time. It's actually somewhere I used to go for a treat. Take my mum. And then I realized I had this epiphany, which usually happens as you get older. And I was like, no, I actually need to do this quite regularly. So it's like in your head, you're like, oh no, I don't want to spend this much money on the spa. And it's like, bro, you spend more on coffee.
At the moment, we're going to be spending more on our water bills, the way that they're going to be going up by 9%.
No, but just think about how much we spend on like Pret or like, you know, it's like you spend more on other things, but you're going to not allow yourself to have this access to something that's going to give you, you know,
wealth and health.
removal from like pollutants and stuff. So yeah, I'm a big exercise. I love exercise, walking. I love walking, hiking, spa.
Yeah, walking is always good.
Sorry, but in fact, Sparky, wasn't you at a spa only the other day?
Yeah, we went to a spa a couple of days ago. Yeah,
it's really good.
Yeah, it was a couple of days ago. Last weekend, I think there's about 150 of us, somewhere up in Warwick. Was it Warwickshire? I think it was.
I believe it was Warwickshire. Was it
Yeah.
Countryman? Was it
Countryman? Yeah, Martin and HBQ and Debbie. Yeah, the four of them. The spa weekend, they would do that once a year.
And try to get into nature. Like the only thing I really do love, well, it's not the only thing, but what I really do love about Edinburgh is in Scotland is they have like unruly nature.
Yeah.
It's really important to get into like mountains. It has this mad there's a term for it that's really long in metaphysics and totally unnecessary, but it just basically means that well, actually technically I'm probably applying my own ideas to this, but what I concluded from studying it is that when you're inside a concrete box, as we often are, called a house or a building, you're surrounded obviously by like this artificially compressed stuff that blocks out a lot of stuff, and you feel quite small. But then as soon as you go onto like a mountaintop, you're like, I feel on top of the world, like I'm amazing, I'm here, I'm in nature, and it just makes you come out of yourself. So we do, especially in our community, Afro-Caribbean community, like we tend to stay in cities. I don't think it's healthy. I don't think it's healthy for anyone. But for some reason,
cold, man. The UK is cold, man. We don't want to go. We don't want to go to the mountains. The only time we go to the mountains is when we're on the run. That's the only time.
The thing is, there's advantages to your mental health when you stay in the city. The city is like okay, I'm going to show you something, right? Let's just say, and this is a big thing that you find between, say, Scotland and England, right? So when you look at the weather forecast is usually higher in England than it is in Scotland. But
rainy.
That's like what they do with science. It's like taking a statistic and arbitrarily communicating it without taking into account all the other external factors, such as when you're in a city like London, there are no mountains. So cumulus nimbus, aka clouds, they gather over mountains. So when you're in a region which is more mountainous, even though the temperature is one thing, that doesn't mean that's the temperature on the ground. That's the temperature above the mountains. So the mountains actually take a lot of the bad weather away from the settlements. On top of that, Edinburgh, for example, is built on top of volcanoes. When you come to Edinburgh, in the middle of Edinburgh, Princes Street, there's a gigantic volcano upon which a castle is, and it's surrounded by volcanoes. So the actual undersoil is warm, right? It's a warmer temperature than a bogland, which, say, England, the main cities, Londinium, are built on. So your surface level is freezing cold, whereas our surface level is not freezing cold.
Not freezing cold.
I don't know, Eunice. I don't know, because many a time I've travelled up to...
listen to me. My English friends, they only come to Scotland at specific times of the year when it's usually cold. I don't know why they do this. They don't come in the warm times. They come in winter, or they come in the rainy season like August. I don't get it.
What it is, Eunice, is that when we get on the train to go to Edinburgh, we've got on a light jacket. Yeah.
But why are you doing that? What's wrong with you?
I didn't know any better that by the time
that's British. Now you're exposing your Britishness. You're exposing your only British people. I did a sketch on this on TikTok for the Fringe. You can tell a British person from a tourist because tourists wear proper clothing. Okay?
Right.
People like us, we will go out in shorts and t-shirt in winter. Something wrong. Yeah, we do. I
Yeah.
see British people in
I've
shorts
seen
and shirt.
I've seen it on the football terraces with the Scottish. Then
Yeah.
they come down. They got no top on in the cold winter time. I don't understand it.
Listen,
No,
you
those are
Londoners,
people
you
from
like to
Newcastle. They're
you like to
Newcastle.
disidentify with Middle England. Like you got Manchester, Newcastle. Listen, Leeds, Europe. Listen, these people. I've been in Manchester. I seen Gail, yeah, wearing straight bra in the winter, nothing else. Straight
Yep, seen it.
in winter,
Are you saying
right?
you can hang your coat off her nipples? Is that what you're saying to me?
Well, I'm not looking at the nipples personally, but what I can say is that there's something wrong with British people, and we're all guilty. We're all guilty of it. But right now, like another thing about Edinburgh is because of its positioning, it's always sunny here. It's sunny. The only time it's not sunny in Edinburgh is August,
During
possibly.
the festival. During the festival.
Yeah.
we got a quick comment in Facebook here. G4 says, I don't know about mountains, but I live in Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace is quite high.
I'm gonna tell you, right? This is the last thing I'm gonna say on the topic, right? You can Google it. Scotland is called a temperate climate, which means it's never too hot and it's never too
Never
cold.
too cold, yeah.
Right? England is not a temperate climate. England is always going to be colder and warmer than Scotland. That's scientific fact because it's a large landmass. On top of that, there's more conurbation, which means the joining of cities, less natural protection from the elements. So just because it's 1 or 2 degrees warmer doesn't actually mean that the environment is better. And also you got huge amount of pollution.
Yeah, and you got a lot of fresh air and fresh atmosphere in Scotland.
Yeah, it's about the fresh air, getting out of the toxic, getting out of the pollution, and thinking about opportunities, man. Like there's this guy, I think his brand's called the Black Farmer.
Yes.
There's a lot of money to be made in things that don't happen in cities, you know, and I think that unfortunately, let's go back to the deepness again. But I think that there's one thing I always thought about when I was young and I was coming to London. I used to go to this community club. My uncle ran the Cherubim and Seraphim Church in Brixton. The point is, when I used to come to London, I always used to think to myself, why are particularly black people, why are we so stuck? Right? Like if you look at anybody else, Asian man, China man, anything, they don't give a damn. They're like, I'm going to go to that hood, even though it's full of black people, in the middle of Cheetham Hill and open a shop because there's no shop and I'm going to make money. In the next 5-10 years, I'm going to have 7 million. Okay? Whereas I think sometimes black people, we got this thing where we don't really like to go into like the unknown solo. Like, and we lose a lot. So, for example, I'm not telling you all to come to Scotland, by the way, right? But, you know, we don't pay to go to university. We have some of the best universities in the entire world. We don't pay for healthcare. We don't pay for prescriptions. We don't pay no bedroom tax.
We pay for it because we pay for it in the
No. Actually, you can Google this. The average Scot is worth more than £460 per head to the English, to the Queen.
To the king, you mean? She did.
And the average English person is worth less than about, it's in the double digits. It's not comparable. On top of that, our tourism alone makes up 1/4 of the total GNP of the entire United Kingdom. You have to understand it's one of the 5th wonders of the world. More people come here because it's ancient. It existed before England. It existed.
Well, believe it or not, one of the first bank was actually opened in Scotland along
Bank of
around
Scotland.
Princess Street, around that area, if I'm correct.
100%, and all other things which are not particularly good as well. Whether that's, well, I'm not going to get into that. It's a bit too deep, but you know, Scotland has existed longer than England, and its Freemasonry and its buildings are, and most cities like London and New York are built in the image of Glasgow, not the other way around. So it's like there's the money, the old money that's here. There's more millionaires per square mile in Edinburgh than anywhere else in Europe. So don't think that because it's Scotland, this is some of the misconceptions of Scotland, that the government, I don't think they ever really lie as such. They just don't tell English
The whole
people.
truth. I mean,
Nah.
it has been said that there was actually a black king in Scotland.
There was indeed, because obviously when the Moors came all around the world.
Oh, I love you. I love you. Keep going.
When they came, Scotland was one of the first places that they settled. And cut a long story short, fast forward a bit through from, say, the 4th century to like the 8th century. Sorry, we're just talking about the Moors right now. We're fast forwarding from the 4th century to the 8th century. And basically, the cut a long story short, when Anglo-Saxons or the English came and they wanted to take over the world and they wanted to take over Scotland, it took them many years. You're talking like good part 700-800 years to take over Scotland, and that was because the Moors, which was what black people used to be called, taught them guerrilla warfare. They taught them how to hide and seek in the mountains, how to fight properly, proper martial arts, the same martial arts they took to Asian society, which is why Japanese people and other people love black people so much, but are confused by our modern representations and behavior. In fact, they were so good after we taught the Moors that the English, even though their infantry like superseded the Scottish infantry by millions, they ended up building something called Hadrian's Wall.
Yes, that was Louis Septimus Severus. When Louis Septimus Severus was around, and he brought his Algerian soldiers, which actually stood on Hadrian's Wall, and that's how you got the Black Watch. Because
exactly, well done. I like you, Rudy. I like you a lot. I like that.
That's fine. I mean, that's the history of a lot of what has gone on before hasn't been told to us, but it's unfolding itself, and I think that's the beauty. This is two-armed thing, because you've got modern technology which gives us access to information, as you pointed out. Do you get me? And it would allow us to know more about ourselves and just exactly how much we really influence this world.
100%, but we've got to be careful. I was teaching a group of young people in a school recently. I wasn't teaching them, I was giving them a talk. And I conducted an experiment which fried a lot of the teachers' brains, and I think gave a lot of wonder to the young people. And I said to them, "What do you know about Black Panther?" And they were like, "Oh yes, wicked, like Wakanda, blah, blah, blah." And I had myself been doing some talks and some working with the young people, and had been, I don't know how, but I might be an honorary Black Panther. Anyway, so I went to Harvester's Way, where we renamed a street, and I was a guest of honor at the Black Panthers street. They got their own street in New York. And this is why I asked the question, because when you Google Black Panther, you don't hear anything about the history of the Black Panther Party and how it connects to the UK and so on. What you see is a movie. So we also got to be careful with technology, because technology is used to rewrite history, particularly in the case of Afro-Caribbeans, which can be really annoying. But yeah, Scotland, going right back to the 4th century, you see examples of some of the kings of Scotland choosing black women to sit on their right as their queens. And we definitely have, I did a lot of research around the Black King of Scotland.
Okay.
Did a lot of archive work, and there's references in archives to a man who was as dark as soot and had woolly hair. But people in England, they argue that that's not enough evidence, which is nonsense. Right. No one had that appearance.
Listen, sorry to butt in. Okay, we've got to start wrapping up now. I want to get some final words in here, and we definitely got to get you back, because you've got so much to tell. All right, it's been an absolute interesting interview and conversation. Absolutely brilliant. HBQ, got anything finally you want to say?
Yeah, so I'm sorry I had to jump out there. It's infringing on some of my work time, so I had to jump out. And it's been really interesting having you on. We've moved from comedy to knowing all about you. We don't know enough about you, to be quite honest. It spans absolutely ridiculous, your knowledge of just the environment, let alone people, let alone what you're doing. And you are an inspiration to a lot of women out there, especially for the ones that feel that they are trapped in a bubble and can't see any sight to think they can do anything else. And I believe that impossible is nothing. I remember the meme came up one day when some guy wrote that, but I truly believe it. There's lots of things that I've tried in my lifetime. Lots of people always go around and say, you've done this, HPQ, and you've done that. And I'm looking at you thinking, I've done nothing, actually. I've done nothing by
I hear you, girl. I
comparison.
hear you.
I'm telling you. So, people like yourself, I want to put on a pedestal. We want to showcase you, especially, you're up there on the pedestals of GQ and the BAFTAs, but sometimes we need you at the grassroots level to show everybody how you can aspire. As you said, you came from the back roots of whatever, but showing people how they can aspire into being something. And we need
Very
more of
important.
that we need more of that in the community. And you are part of the community, whether you are Scottish, whether you are African. You are part of the big black diaspora who looks at you and wants an idol to say, this is who we can be like. And that's exactly who you are, whether you want to believe it or not. I have a little bit of imposter syndrome. I don't know if you suffer from that sometimes. I understand it, but please know that you are a model to us all. And the information and the thanks that are coming in from the chat, I'm definitely going to steal you and bring you on my show. I want 3 hours with you, deep 3 hours to delve into the mind of Eunice. And thank you
Thank
so
you so
much for
much.
coming on the show.
I really appreciate that. And I will
Excellent.
never say you've never done nothing, though, because the thing is, it's all about timing, man. People think that everyone needs to come between 20 and 30, whereas actually some of the greatest, most significant people of our time, whether it's an Ava DuVernay or a Steve McQueen, they didn't even get their flowers until they were over 50. So you
We
don't
will
know
definitely.
what God has got in his purpose for you.
We'll definitely get you back on. Rudi, you got any quick final words to say?
Yes,
on
I'm
the
going to
show?
say thank you very much, Eunice. It was wonderful having you on the platform this morning, and it's given us an opportunity to show that black people are excelling, as HPQ said, on many different levels. And in the world of comedy, I thought it was important that we highlighted what you did from as way far back as the Edinburgh Festival, bringing in the comedy rap battles, for example, which then went onto TV, but you never got your plaudits for that. And also taking modeling to its highest level. I think that's absolutely astounding. And the fact that you've even got a book, and the fact that you've got your gallery. So thank you very much for joining us. Much appreciated. And I'm sure that a lot of the listeners are appreciating that. And I just wanted to send a quick shout out to Jackie. Jackie had 4 children, she said, while squatting.
Gosh.
Right. And that's a whole other topic that maybe me and the Queen will investigate further, because for us black women, I'm saying we need to be sticking together and we need to be supporting each other. All women in general, but black women specifically, we've got our own hurdles, Thank you so much. It's been absolutely amazing. And
So
I had
have you.
so much fun. Fresh, check it out. It's fantastic. There's one clip on YouTube. Hopefully, the guys can put in the link, and they let me know how to share the show on my Facebook after, because I forgot.
Listen, Afrish.
Sorry, I apologize. I was meant to remind you to do that, but we'll create a link. We'll create a link to your page so that people can see the live interview. And just before we go, ladies and gentlemen, just a quick reminder that on the 29th of February in Brent, the Rants and Bants Comedy Club is happening. We've got Christopher Savage, we've got Matthew Harris, we've got Marcus Tisson, as well as myself and IC. So get your tickets on Eventbrite. That's the comedy club, Rants and Bants.
Excellent. Listen, guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. It's been brilliant. Eunice, thank you very, very much. Very inspiring, I have to say, and looking up the Scottish history, and we are going to be visiting Edinburgh very soon.
Let me know. I'm gonna show you around.
Oh, it's a train ride away. I'll be there. I'll see you tomorrow.
Yes, you should come have a nice baddie. Chill out a bit.
Defo.
Yeah, I'm having all sorts going on with my screen. I'm sure you guys can hear me still, but I'm still here. Listen, I'm gonna play a track out. Thank you very very much, Eunice, for coming on the show. You know what, it's our pleasure, and as always with Rudi and myself, HBQ. A big thank you, and also thank you to all the Mixclouders for logging in and tuning into the show. And don't forget, the second Tuesday of every month, we are here with a guest. Thank you very much, Eunice.
Awesome. See you guys.